Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Hey Everybody podcast, episode 79. I am Christopher Gold, episode 79. And I'm very happy to be here. I hope you guys had a good weekend. It's Monday for me. It's Monday afternoon. Super Bowl weekend. It went the way I wanted it to. I was pulling for the Rams. I was pulling for Matthew Stafford mostly. I ate an unholy amount of food. Tori made all kinds of wonderful, tasty deliciousness. And we just sat on the couch all day and ate food and watched football. And it was marvelous. And then, watched a bunch of silly TV and stuff with her late at night because that's part of our fun. It's part of the wondrousness of being with the right people that you can do almost anything. And she and I are just having fun all the time. So I hope you guys had a good weekend, and we're back. It's Monday. I'm going to kick off this week with a recommendation / reminder / launching off point to what I want to talk about. It's all coming together. It's a very professional podcast. This record is called The King is Dead by the Decemberists, and I love it. I believe it to be perfect. It's 10 songs. They're perfect. The record itself is perfect. There's a documentary about this record that is wonderful. There's a B-sides collection that is superb. There was a short live record called Live at Bull Moose. They did an in-store. That came out with mostly songs from this record. That's tremendous. It's fantastic. I love it. It has brought me endless amounts of joy. It's dusty. It's their country record. They made it in a barn, that kind of thing. But I love it. Anyways, I have bought this record for people as a gift. Hey, this record is great. Buy it. Have it here. So my wife and I were talking about a song from this record and raised the question about when the record came out. We weren't quite sure. So I did some Googling, and this record came out in 2011. I have loved this record for 11 years. I listened to it this morning, and then I listened to the B-sides, and then I listened to that live record. I love it. Anyways, when I Googled to find out when the record came out, because why walk over to the shelf and pull it down and actually read the back of it, a series of reviews came up. When you Google a record, that's one of the things that happens. And I read a review of this record that I love so much that was brutal, just murderous. I couldn't read it to you now because there's language in it that I dare not use on the podcast. Horrible. Just went at. If I found out that all 5 members of the Decemberists killed this reviewer's mom in a ritual sacrifice, that still wouldn't explain how harsh he was about this record that I love so much. And I had this sort of moment, we'll call it an epiphany, if you will. It might be overselling it. But I had this moment. Should we put the record down? Let's put the record down. The King is Dead by the Decemberists. It's wonderful. I had this moment. There's a idea in Stoicism. I think Marcus Aurelius said it, but it could have been, one of the other guys. But he says, basically, we care about ourselves more than anybody else, and yet we value other people's opinions more than our own, which is to say, you put on a shirt, you like that shirt, you go out in the world in that shirt, someone says something, or even just gives you a look that says dude, really? What's up with the shirt? And all of a sudden you're falling to pieces. Maybe you're like me, you make things, you put them out because you're proud of them. I've never put out something. I heard the singer for Trampled by Turtles on a podcast say, as he gets older, he's trying to be more generous and gentle with music that maybe he doesn't even like, because he knows likely whoever put it out likes it and thinks it's good. And it's their best effort. And here you go. And he's not there to take a dump on that. And I love that idea. So maybe you make something, you put it out because you think it's good and you worked hard on it and you believe that it's a quality piece of work, and someone tells you that you're wrong in the form of a bad review, and you start to wonder, maybe I was wrong, maybe it's not good, maybe I'm not good, maybe this shirt's terrible. And I had this sort of real world epiphany where, like, I have loved this Decemberists record for over a decade. I love it now more than I used to. It's so good. Gillian Welch is on it. Peter Buck from REM is on it. It's just so good. Sarah Watkins from Nickel Creek is on it. It's so good. At least I think she's on it. She was part of the live band. She's on that live record. Playing that fiddle, singing those harmonies. So I'm sitting here loving this record. I read this review where this guy just went for the throat for no reason. I hate bad reviews. There's just no point. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just wasted that space and that ink and my time. Tell me what you like, and I'll go listen to it. If it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can hate stuff on my own. I don't need your help. But let's focus. I love this record. I read this review, and not for 1 second did I go, oh, is he right? Is this a bad record? Do I not like this record? Have I wasted 11 years of my life wrongly thinking that I like this record and all the B-sides? It never occurred to me to think that way. Excuse me, I'm still trying to shake this cough. It never occurred to me that this guy's opinion of this thing that I love might be more right. It might supersede my opinion. It might be better than my opinion. It might prove my opinion wrong because he doesn't like it. So maybe I don't like it. That never happened. And yet, it's hard to do that for ourselves, for myself. If I make a record, and this has happened, where I make something, I put it out, and someone goes, I don't like it. Or I don't like it as much as the other one. Or I wish it was more like this. You know, that happens if, you know, it happens. You put stuff out, it happens. But I think it's good. I enjoyed making it. I'm excited to give it to other people. Why should this opinion rattle me so much if it were anybody else's record and I liked it and someone said, well, I don't like it? I don't care. I don't think all of a sudden, like, well, maybe I should stop listening to it. And I know my life is different than a lot of lives because of what I do for a living and that kind of thing. But there's a truth to that. And again, a principle of Stoicism. I'm not, you know, riffing brand new ideas here. That, like, another person's opinion, especially about something that you love or something you're proud of or something you like or something you think is good, should not, must not be nearly as important as the fact that you think it's good, that you like it. And I think there's a path to better living in that truth. Now, the extreme of that is you never listen to anyone else's input and you become a monster, and we can't have that. But for the most part, people aren't going to like everything you like. Not everyone's going to even like you. But if you're checking in with yourself and you're being honest, and you do have like a core support group of people around you, the reason I feel more comfortable at least attempting to shake off other people's opinions is because I have a wife, I have a son, I have a dad, I have bandmates, I have close friends that I do value their opinion. Even with work stuff, there are times where I bring a song to the band and they go, I don't know, let's work on the other one. And I kind of know. And usually they're right. And if I don't think they're right, it ends up on a solo record and, you know, round and round we go. But it was a really interesting sort of real world example of what the Stoics were on about with, like, well, this opinion means nothing to me because I love that record and I don't care if you like it or not. And frankly, the the ferocity with which you are disliking it just makes me wonder about you a little bit. On a somewhat related note, I had this other sort of, not epiphany or not realization, just like arrival point. I think a lot of stuff that I read about and talk about is aspirational. I don't think I've ever met a person who is always mindful or always stoic. But when we set that as the goal, hopefully we're at least always making progress and we're lessening our needless suffering, at least a little. I had a thing happen a couple days ago, and I'll be super vague, but someone did something that affected me negatively. And I was bothered, as you would be. And there was a time where I would have been bothered, maybe for days, where I'm ranting and raving and talking to Tori and constantly, and another thing, blah, blah, blah. I did that for like 10 minutes maybe. And then all of a sudden, just realized, all right, that's enough. I'm not going to give this that much more of my day, And the cool realization was what this person had done was still wrong. And I was still aware that it was still wrong. I personally struggled for a long time and still do sometimes with letting stuff go, because you think that letting it go is allowing it or even tolerating it, or even just saying it's fine that they did that. That thing happened, and in an effort to be fine myself, I'm just going to say that was okay. And I realized this weekend that you can have both. You can go like, what that person did was wrong and they shouldn't have done it. And I would never do it. And maybe the fact that they do might later on affect my decision-making process when we decide if we want to work together or whatever. But does that reality have to ruin my day? And I, without putting that much thought into it, I just decided that it didn't. And then I had this wonderful epiphany that that was still wrong what they did. And I felt this sort of rush of sort of freedom that I no longer have to be pent up and upset when people do something wrong. And I don't have to be a doormat, and I don't have to whatever. Just for a long time, I felt like, especially about really old past stuff, like childhood stuff and all that kind of stuff, I felt like if I don't hold on to it, if I'm not upset about it, it'll be like it was okay that it happened. And what I've been working on for a very long time, truthfully, maybe 15 years, and what just sort of clicked a few days ago is, no, that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about whether or not that was right or wrong. We're not talking about even whether or not you should be upset about it or be allowed to be upset about it. A lot of people should be upset about it. This wrong thing that happened to you or to me or to whomever. But isn't it bad enough that it happened? Should you also lose a day or a week or a lifetime to that event over and over and over again? Should you be punished every day because someone else did something wrong? And that's what we do to ourselves. That's what I was doing to myself. Even little stuff, I would get upset about it for an hour. And that's too long because I don't know how many hours I'm going to get, So, plus when you're in a space where you can let that stuff go, you can do other stuff, other more fun stuff, like watch Gross Point Blank with your wife and son. Oh, look at that smooth transition into a recommendation. It's like a real show we have going on here. This movie, this here we have the 2-pack of Gross Point Blank and High Fidelity. And if you came here for controversy, I'm going to give it to you now. Gross Point Blank is better. They're both great. I love them both. Gross Point Blank is funnier. It's deeper. The soundtrack, you ready for this, is better. And you can actually like the main character, even though he literally kills people in this movie. High Fidelity, it's a weird, because you're pulling for him, but like, not if he was dating your sister. You know what I mean? He's not a good dude. This guy's an actual hitman, and I'd let him date my sister or my daughter or my whomever. So yeah, we watched Grosse Pointe Blank because it's one of my favorite movies of all time. And it's wonderful. It's hilarious. The music is great. The soundtrack was done by Joe Strummer, and it feels like a mixtape, and it's so good. And every time I watch this movie, because I watch it a lot because I love it, if you don't know, it's about a hitman who is unhappy in his life, and he goes back to his high school reunion. And it's great. But every time you watch it, you see more and more sort of recurring themes of like identity, and this guy doesn't know who he is, and he keeps telling people who he is. There's this running joke where he keeps telling people that he's a hitman, and they, of course, just assume he's joking. And then there's this other running joke where he does bad things and will say, like, it's not me. So even he is sort of wrestling with, like, who am I if nobody sees me? And even when I'm alone, I don't want to be who I am. And when I tell people who I am, they don't believe me, and all this kind of stuff. And maybe I'm reading too much into it because I love it so much. But watch Grosse Pointe Blank because it's great. And then finally, new release time. This record is called Dear Darkness, and it's by Dan Andriano and the Bygones. We've talked about Dan Andriano before. This is his third solo record, and now he's going by the name Dan Andriano and the Bygones because he made this record with two other people, and they're touring as Dan Andriano and the Bygones. This might be my favorite solo record that he's made. The artwork is beautiful. If you can see, like, part of it's matte, part of it's shiny. It's really, really good. This font is fantastic. It's great. And there's a lot of like Tom Petty vibes on here. Get a lot of organ, a lot of jangle. Would call it pop music, but again, like rock and roll pop music. Elvis Costello said he played pop music. You know what I mean? A lot of people have ruined the term. But listen to this record, Dear Darkness by Dan Andriano and the Bygones. It's great. Came out on Friday. I bought it, and I've listened to it probably 10 times. It's really, really good. Check it out. Putting a bow on things. Here we go. Ready? Don't let other people with their opinions get in the way. If you're feeling good, if you're doing the right thing and you're feeling good about it, the hell with them. And if they do get in your way, let it go. Just keep doing the right thing and keep having a good time and keep watching your favorite movies and listening to your favorite records and let them all go to hell. That's it. It's Valentine's Day today. I woke up. My wife had made me a lovely card. We hand make cards. And so I made her a card. She's at work right now, but I made her a card, and I'm very proud of it. And I like to, as you can probably guess, I like to go for the joke. And hers was very, very funny too. I think I have it right here. Just make sure everything's on the up and up before I share it with you. All right. So I wake up, and this is on my office chair. It says, "They will never find your body." And then you open it, and it says, "As hot as I do, happy Valentine's Day. I love you." She's hilarious and wonderful and good. And she made me buffalo chicken dip yesterday for the Super Bowl. And I swear to God, I would marry her every day. Why wouldn't you? People are all cynical about weddings, and I'm over it. You know, if people are in love and they want to have cake about it, let's go. Long talk for another day. All right. I hope you guys are well. And, 6 months, and then the Packers are back at it, hopefully. In the meantime, we'll talk soon. Don't let the bastards get you down. And be good. Bye.